a minute, but questions are still coming in. I can ask them also.
Okay, whenever she's ready.
Okay, so Moosh, I will ask you your first question, and when you start speaking, I'll start the timer, or Rochelle will start the timer. Okay, so your first question is, you stated in your speech that you hope to hold all e-boarders and members accountable. So how do you plan to do this?
This is similar to a few of the tasks that I had to do as secretary, and that's holding other people accountable on eBoard. And I see myself doing the same thing as treasurer in that sense, by sending out constant reminders about deadlines and all of that, and reminding people when things are due and when they should complete them by. So one of the things that I did as secretary was establish a new timeline so that we can publicize and market our events earlier to increase turnout. And I think that was very, very effective because I was able to create a working timeline for us, and e-boarders obviously were held accountable because of that. And I see myself doing the same as treasurer and communicating with them effectively to set certain times when I need to get information for them for creating budgets and estimating for events or whatever causes that they may need money for. And I think that I also plan to have a lot of collaborative conversations with e-boarders individually, with whoever may need finance or help with finances for creating events or planning. So I think creating personal conversations with every single e-boarder who may need to contact me is very important too.
Thank you. Okay, so your next question is, how do you expect your past experience as secretary to help you as treasurer, and what was the decision behind running for treasurer as opposed to secretary this coming year?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's really similar to what I just stated, but to add on to that, I think it's so important to know how to communicate with all the different types of people on eBoard. So next year, there's going to be an eBoard of about 18 people, and you can't expect everyone to have the same kind of communication or leadership style. And I think that my experience as secretary has allowed me to realize that and understand what are the best ways I can communicate with each person. One of the fundamental parts about being treasurer is working with almost every single e-boarder, because a lot of the positions on eBoard require like funding and finances. And so I think that if I were to take the position of treasurer, I would not have a hard time at all communicating with the different types of people on eBoard and adjusting to their leadership styles and having effective conversations with how we can use TroyFi's funding and allocate our funds effectively. And my decision for running for treasurer instead of secretary this year is because I wanted to be able to contribute more to the club, especially since I'm getting older. And I mean, TroyFi has been such a fundamental part to my college experience. And I think that if I were to take on this new position, I would do all that I can to push TroyFi in the direction of success. And I think I could do that by being treasurer and not staying stagnant in my position as secretary.
Thank you. So your next question is, how do you feel your current in-person experiences enriches your understanding of how TroyFi's finances are managed?
Yeah, this was something I really, really stressed in my speech. I think that it's so important to have in-person experience, especially for next year if you're treasurer, because a lot of the funding and finances go towards our in-person events. So I was talking to Eileen about the differences between working as treasurer in person versus online, and she said that it was a lot different online because there wasn't a lot of responsibilities that she had to fulfill because there weren't tailgates or socials or retreats to budget and raise money for. And a lot of the events that we have in person require a lot of money. PSN is so expensive, and so are holding all these parties and tailgates. So I think that me having the in-person experience and seeing visually how much and how many people come to our events and our socials and all the things that TroyFi has is extremely important to fulfilling the treasurer position.
Okay, thank you. And I think our last question is, are there any other ideas that you were not able to mention in your speech that you wanted to elaborate on?
Yeah, I have a bunch of ideas in the document that I sent into the chat that I wasn't able to cover in my speech. One of them is one of them is like kind of random. It's revitalizing Mr. Troy Fye. So this was mentioned in the alumni panel, and a lot of people were interested in bringing that event back, which is basically a male beauty pageant for Troy Fye. I have 30 seconds, and I think that if we were to add in a little raffle in there, that'd be really fun, and just little stuff like that, as well as doing a buy food, sell food on campus, where I buy food outside of the thrift zone and sell them on campus.